In today's video, I'm going to show how I'm converting my Olive Traveler's Notebook from Midori Traveler's Company into my knitting journal, as well as my amigurumi journal on the go. I've had this dream for a cover for a very long time now to specifically use this product that I've had in my stash for many years. It's by We Are Memory Keepers. It's called So Easy. It comes as this plastic case with a lot of embroidery floss and these plastic heads with spikes that attach to a handle. When you press those spikes into the mat, it'll make this clicking noise. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but it'll pop little holes into the paper or the surface that you're working on. Now sometimes they don't go all the way through, but you can use one of the needles that you can also store in the handle and puncture those additional holes so that they go all the way through. I just use the side of my handle so that I don't hurt my hand with this process. The indentations are in the paper very well. Just sometimes have to poke the holes all the way through. And then I take the embroidery floss. I think it's a full 6 strands. This could go faster with a sewing machine, but I specifically have been wanting to try this product and with the thickness of the embroidery floss. I'm not sure how thick of a thread I can use with my sewing machine, but I do like the thickness and texture that the embroidery floss gives. So that's why I tried this technique. In the end, I actually end up liking the pattern that is on the inside better than the outside, but either way, it'll work. Now for here, there's some of this grid washi tape that I got from an Asian online market. I don't remember the name of which one I got it from. I don't know if it was Wish or Yes Style, but I really love this grid because it's not a perfect grid. It's kind of faded, looks a little rustic, and it's like a masking paper with a slight reddish brown grid on it. So I thought it would be nice here, and so I've stuck it on this section, and I might take one of those clear dollar spot pockets and seal it over that later. From the haul that I got from the vintage store a few months ago, I'll link that here. I bought some old patterns, and I really liked how this one had like a little ruler in it, because that little card scrapbook paper that I'm holding there, the subtle background in the yellow portion is actually a pattern as well. So I thought it would be fitting to use some of this tissue paper from a vintage pattern. I think it's for like Cabbage Patch Dolls or something like that. And I'm just using this matte medium. I use it as the base. And what's nice about this is it's a thin enough medium that it can also go over the tissue paper, and it ends up being sealed on the page very nicely. So here I'm not trying to cover all of the white since this card has a little bit of a white frame on the inside. I decided to leave some white showing. And instead of cutting these sections off, I decided to wrap them around and use them as part of the design for the next page. I just like how it gives it a smoother edge this way. Sometimes I like the rough edge, like on my junk journals. I like the rough edge, but since this is going to be my knitting journal, I just wanted to clean up the edge a little bit by making this particular edge smooth since it's the first page for this journal. And then I can layer on top of it for my next project. So for this next section, I'm using this Avery folder sticker. It's vintage as well. This is the box that I bought at that secondhand scrap store as well. And then I'm also using my Dymo labeler in this light blue as well as black. I found those refills on eBay. I've had that Dymo labeler, I think, from Target for years. And sometimes this adhesive on the back of these just don't hold the way I'd like them to. So I'm adhering it with some glue that I use for jewelry. It's just something I had bought at a scrapbook convention a while ago. It dries completely clear and never yellows. And it just holds down plastic pieces and glass and things that aren't typically paper. It glues down very well. So you just have to hold it for about 5 to 10 seconds. And then it makes a nice permanent hold, and I don't have to worry about these little pieces popping off or falling off in the future. So for the last embellishment here, I'm using these autumn leaves stamps. I've had these in my stash forever with some Brilliance ink. They're little journaling line prompts, but they have stitched edging and stitched lines. So I thought it would make a nice addition to just kind of layer over some of these sections with a nice shiny metallic ink in gold. I take it off of the stamp block and kind of move it around to other places of the page. And then I'm also using a very pale blue Versamark ink as well, just to, the Dewdrops ink, just to give it a little bit more character. So the pen that I've included here is from Pen Gems. It matches the buckle on that clip very well. So I think I'll keep that in that little pen holder so I always have something to write with. This is the cover page for the journal. If I'm sitting, I am knitting, and that's become very true these days. So I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough of kind of this mixed media style journal for knitting, and I'll show you some of my first knitting projects coming up. If you like this video, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. And feel free to find me on social media as well. And I'd love to see your projects. I'll see you next time.